Welcome everybody for another Live Intentionally interview today with Val Sanch.
Sign
Sign
Sitch.
Saincic. Beautiful name. Welcome, Val. How are you today?
So Sign Sitch. There we go.
Saincic. Val Saincic. How are you?
I am doing fantastic.
Yes.
I'm doing fantastic.
So
How
Val
about
is
yourself?
our Val is our fitness and confidence coach, and today we're talking about how to build your confidence and thinking in many different ways to build confidence, especially the way you use with your clients and how people can maybe use that as well for themselves.
Yeah, yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah. Hi, Keith, joining us live. So, Val, would you like to start by telling us a little bit about yourself? Maybe I know you are into a few things, but what you feel that is relevant to share on your journey, how you ended up as a fitness and confidence coach.
Okay, no
Yeah,
problem.
awesome.
Um, I know the previous collaboration we did, I started off when I was a little baby, in a womb, but I think we'll skip past all of
Okay,
that.
okay.
Um, but it all started from school. I would say, a lot of everyone's, journeys actually start from their school years, from their young years, being teenagers, being little kids. I mean, a lot of people can agree with me when I say that, yes, school it doesn't teach you.
Sorry.
We're doing the checks.
Just making sure
So,
that it's shared in all platforms. Okay, yes, yes.
um, so a lot of people will probably agree with me saying, that, yeah, school doesn't teach you everything that you need to know when you leave. Um, and that is correct, but it does still teach you, here and there, the fundamentals of what it is to be out in a social environment away from, your immediate family and everything. And it teaches you how to learn specific social skills. And so when I was in school, the social skills that I learned a lot was, um, I was sort of like a people pleaser in school. I never really had one friend. I had more than one friend from different types of cliques. Because I mean, it's school, high school, primary school. There's a lot of cliques. You belong with this crowd. You're a weirdo. You're an outcast. You're the popular kid. You're the cool kid.
I didn't know
Um,
that word, the click. Okay, I learned something.
so so what I try to be is I try to learn from all of the clicks. So I try to see, okay, I don't know what I am, so I'm going to see, what do these people do? Oh yeah, so these are the popular kids. These are the nerds. These are the academics. These are the sporty kids. And so through all of that, I learned what it means to actually develop social skills according to the people around you. I learned what it was to read body language, to read emotion, to deal with a lot of different people, a lot of different personalities and characters.
And was
And
a way? Was that a way for you to feel that you were fitting in?
Yes. So in doing that, I started feeling like, what, because I know these people and I can see what ticks them off, and what how I can annoy them and how I can't annoy them. I was a bit mischievous in school, and because of that, I thought, I was turning into the popular kid, even though I was a part of the nerds, I was a part of the sports, all of that. But in actual fact, I was actually very introverted. I was so unaware of who I was, because I was always trying to be all these different people to fit into these different cliques. And because of that, when when I hit my later years in school, and that's where you start realizing that, what, some people insult you, some people annoy you, some people are really healthy for you, some people are not. You start to, make your circle a little smaller. And in doing that, I realized a lot that, what, I actually need to work on myself. I am an introvert. I am not at all confident. I'm always playing on other people's. I'm sort of using other people's confidence as my own,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense. So um, it's like I'm in someone's shadow. I'm like, yeah, you do that, and it's like, yeah, don't see me, yeah, woo, So I turned into that, and when I realized that, I said, well, when I'm out of school and I'm out there in the real world, I might not have my friends, my
Yeah.
friends, the people that I was with. I
How
might
old
not
were
have that
you?
shadow. Sorry?
How old were you at that time when you
Um,
realized?
at Yeah, so at that time when I realized it was around 16, 15 years old.
All right.
Um, and so what I decided to start doing is I decided to start working on myself. So I started becoming less social, because I realized the more I was being more social, the more I was trying to be someone else that I'm not. So I needed to find out who I was before I could, be someone else. And a few years went by. I started working for myself, and in that, I developed the skills to start loving myself and to start seeing, okay, you know what? I am actually an extroverted person. Um, I love talking to people, and the communication is one of the most important skills someone can have in the world, in my opinion. And from what I've seen and learned, communication is the utmost important thing and skill to master in the world, because it's communication through verbal, it's communication through body language, it's communication through written, it's communication through I mean, even light communicates with us. There's communication in everything that we do. And when I realized that, I was like, wow, okay, awesome. I'm going to now improve my communication skill. And the best thing about that is you develop the confidence in yourself, because you're so confident with your communication. You develop that confidence in yourself because now you know that you can help other people communicate, and it works.
Yeah.
And
So how did you work on your communication?
so how I worked on my communication was, I I started talking to myself. So if there, so I developed, yes. So it was like something in the mirror. And sometimes it would be when, I'm trying to make important decisions in my life. I would consult someone else, but then because I needed to realize that it was my decision to make, I would get clarity, and maybe I would look for a little bit of validation, when in actual fact you shouldn't actually do that, because a little golden nugget is, you already make a decision, and when you ask someone else out of that decision, you're literally just looking for validation, and am I choosing the right thing? But you've already made your decision, so no one can choose for you. um, and
Yes.
so that's how I improved my communication. I started speaking with different people. I started becoming more extroverted. I started stepping out of my comfort zone. I started going to places that I wouldn't normally go. I started exploring new things. I started feeding my curiosity. So when I wanted to know something, I asked the questions. And I felt it's just a question. I can't be labeled for just asking a question, for just wanting to know. And if you label me, I am so confident in myself that it does not even matter. That's your label on me. I
And
am asking because I'm curious, you
but
know?
I am curious, how did you move from not feeling confident to feeling confident to ask questions? Was it just your own process, or was it modeled to you in some way? Did you have anyone to that became your role model in that you saw how they did it, or was everything just your own process?
Um, to an extent, as much as we might not want to admit it, we're all modeling someone. Even if we are unaware of it, we're all modeling someone, because, like I said, communication is the biggest thing. And through communication, influence is spread. And so when someone is communicating something and you're like, hey, I like what you're saying, you're obviously, because you like it, it's going to keep playing back to yourself that you're eventually going to be saying the same thing. But that's what it's not saying that you're copying anyone, but you're modeling them in a sense.
Yes.
For instance, humanitarians, a lot of the humanitarians and philanthropists and everything out there, a lot of people look to them and say, wow, they're my role model, because you know what? They see the good that they see in themselves in them. And so they're like, oh wow, this is really awesome. I want to do, what he's doing, because not because he's doing it, but because I actually want to do it. I'm just now seeing someone that's doing it. And so for me, as much as I'd like to say it was something that I worked on with myself, it was sort of influenced by role models that I had at the time. I never had a specific role model. I had mainly, when it came to speaking and communication, I had role models like a lot of the very well-known actors, Jim Carrey, Robin Williams, Liam Neeson, and Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
So they were my biggest role models, and through the way they acted, and in movies, and also you know, offset in their personal lives. There was a lot of modeling that I got from them, seeing, that they've seen success and everything. But, at that time, I wasn't so aware of the fact that, I was actually modeling them. It was sort of the thing of, wow, I like the way he
Yeah.
speaks. I like the way he communicates. And so through that, you're like, okay, yeah, so I can improve this way, and I can improve this way. I can start saying things differently, that sort of thing. And it's the same through the fitness that I got into as well.
But so when you started to ask questions, where did that take you? And you started to follow your curiosity and try new things. Where did that take you? You
uh,
mentioned, I think you mentioned at some point in another conversation that you went to, you did drama.
yes,
Yeah.
so
So what are
um,
the things that you started that helped you on that journey?
yes. So the one thing that I did in school was I was never really an academic person. Because I was in those cliques, like I had said, I was all in the different cliques and everything. Drama seemed to be one of the best things to go to, because I wanted to be the guy playing sports. I wanted to be the guy who was really good at his academics. I wanted to be the person who was really good at drama as well. And one thing that really appealed to me, that I hadn't noticed at the time, was how well I did with drama. And that was before, I started with it way before I realized, hold on, I need to be my own person. And through drama and public speaking, that's where my love for communication came from. And then it evolved into, I need to start being my own person and all of that. And when I left school, I wanted to pursue a career in acting and script writing, and funny enough, I wanted to be a cartoonist. So I was a really good sketch artist back in school, a little hidden talent that I never got to actually explore, because you're put under the, this cannot make you money. This cannot, the programming, the previous programming. So so I never got to actually explore the drama that I wanted to at the time. And I wasn't able to explore, my talents and skills in, sketching and being an artist. So I decided what would be the best way to get close to that sort of industry. And that would be to maybe, go like spend my whole year watching movies. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that sounds like a great plan. So I decided, okay, funny enough, this guy goes and works at a video store as soon as he's out of school, because I'm serious. And I did not like the idea of a university, because of my realization when I was 16 years old, about the social cliques and everything. I found that university could be very unhealthy for someone's social life to an extent. And so what I did is I worked in a video store, and through the video store, I actually got the chance to uh, explore, well, to actually see how shooting that I did back when I was 17, 16 years old. I met Adam Sandler and a bunch of other actors. I was in a movie with them. You can actually go check it out. The movie's name is Blended. um, I actually have dialogue in that movie. When I was around 16, 17, I went up to Bella Thorne. I'm like, hey, dude, there's a lot of chicks out here. And so so I thought, the movie industry and everything would get me there, and it didn't actually get me there. So I decided to drop out. And how I realized that, in me asking my questions and feeding my curiosity, it led me to a few years of my life where I couldn't hold on to something for very long. Everything I had convinced myself, yes, blended, blended, yes.
Thank you,
I
Ishan.
yes, thank you, Zishan. It should be at 43 minutes, 46 seconds, or 46 minutes, 43 seconds. I can't remember. And so I couldn't hold on to something for very long. You know, I couldn't.
You're
I
always
couldn't.
following your curiosity.
Yes. So I was in feeding my curiosity. I was always doing something new. I could not stay at one place for very long. I needed to learn a skill. Once I learned that skill, I was like, okay, what's the next best thing? You know, there was always a bigger fish. There was always a bigger fish, and I always wanted to be catching that fish. And obviously, you know, throwing it back once I've seen, oh man, this is so big. Throw it back. You don't need it. um, so with that, it eventually led me to explore a lot of, you know, versions of myself, from high school through, you know, to where I am now. And one of the versions of myself, so to say, one thing that I learned about myself is the joy I actually, you know, find, and the love I find in myself by helping others, but not specifically, you know, helping others in any way I can, but specifically in, oh, you're frozen. Am I frozen?
No. Am I frozen?
Isabel is moving really slowly. So I'm just gonna continue. Shall
Can you?
I don't know. Shall I continue?
But for those who are watching, let us know if everything is fine. I think so. One thing that Val was saying that actually resonated with me is how sometimes we feel the pressure in school to fit into a certain group, and we feel that we have a certain label, or someone labels us, and we feel that we have to fit into that group. For me, I was kind of in the group of the introverted. Thank you so much, Joanna. So in the group of those that felt that they were really introverted, and I felt that I left. Okay, there we go. So Val is with us again.
Hi. You thought that you lacked?
You left us.
Oh, you were saying I interrupted you? You lacked?
No, I was saying that I resonated with what you said regarding when I was in school, that I felt that there was a certain pressure to belong to a group. What you call the trick? No.
Click. Click.
And it kind of stayed with me, that for me was that I was very quiet, very introverted, and that stayed with me, like that. Okay, I have to wear this, like I'm the introverted one. But then when growing up, and I felt that I lacked confidence, but then when growing up, I realized that actually confidence is not measured by how much you like to talk or not, or and that it can show up in different ways. And that's what I'm curious also to explore for people who don't feel they are confident, because maybe they feel that to be confident they have to do certain things. Maybe they see other people showing up more on social media or doing this and that, and they're not inclined to do that, so they don't feel confident. So what would you say to them? How can they feel confident about themselves, whether they are introvert or extrovert or whatever they are doing?
How do I help people be more confident in themselves when, you know, whether they're an introvert or an extrovert or anything? And the first thing I can say to anyone is literally to make a fool out of yourself, whether it is in front of people or in front of yourself, in front of a mirror. And the best way to do this, and I know, you know, most of you in the who are watching now, I can't see who it is, but if you're watching the replay, most of you will agree with me, dance. So whether you know how to dance or not to dance, does it really matter? Does anyone really know what dance is supposed to look like? No, it's not defined by anything. It's literally movement of the body. However you use your body to move to a specific rhythm, to a specific sound. All right. That is dance. You're enjoying yourself. You're feeling positive in the moment. You're feeling love for yourself. And so you're appreciating it, and you're appreciating the music and the good vibes so much that you want to move your body. And when you do that, on a whole chemical level in your body, we're not going to dig into that, but even the chemicals in your body are so happy that yes, I told Zishan the other day that I have 2 left feet, and he found it so hard to believe. um, so the thing is, that when you dance, you have a complete disregard of any opinions on you. You are feeling just in that moment, so you're vibrating at such a positive vibration, and that's automatically going to be picking up your confidence. And the more you do that, the more you exercise that love for yourself, the more you exercise that movement, that feeling of joy without any concern of external opinions or external criticism, you will start to actually develop a very, very strong level of confidence in yourself.
Would you say dancing alone or with other people around?
So dancing can be anything. You can dance whether it's in front of people or whether it is alone. So when you learn anything, you start off, and you start by not knowing. This is the first step to knowing something, is to not know. And so that is obviously saying, people who are professional dancers obviously started when they weren't professional dancers. They were also probably thinking, oh yeah, I'm not that good at dancing, but because they loved it so much, they started doing it more, and then they started getting better at it, and so they developed the muscle. And now look at them, they're professional dancers. And so that's the same thing with your confidence. You need to start at a point where you are a baby, where you do not know. You need to start there. You need to realize that in that process, humiliation is there. All right. Humility, not humiliation, humility. Let me correct over there. There's a difference between humiliation and humility. All right. Humility is constructive. Humiliation is not constructive. And the first step to getting self-confidence is to go through and experience what humility is. And the best way to do that is dance.
What about singing in the shower?
I want you to sing in the shower tonight. Sing in the shower without moving your body.
Yeah.
I can tell you one thing, you will not be able to do that. You will be moving your body. You cannot sing and enjoy it without moving your body, even if it's just your foot going like this or your head going like this.
And also because dancing is a really great way to connect with your body. And like you say, yes, the connection with the body, I believe that is an important stepping stone to feel more confident as well. Kind of,
yes.
Yeah, kind of feel very
exactly.
Basic thing to do. Connect first with your body. So if it's not through dancing, what else can you suggest for people who are really struggling with the idea of dancing?
All right. Yeah. So if it's not dancing, if you had noticed the way I was saying it with the dancing is, it's something that you learn to love about yourself. So it's something that you're doing to experience joy. That is the main center. Like, what you're actually doing does not matter. All right. So long as it is constructive to yourself and healthy. That I would say that's the only thing. It needs to be healthy and constructive to yourself, because you're looking at building your confidence and love for yourself.
And something that you might not feel very confident, but it might be your passion, something that you want to do, and you're following that passion, but at the same time feels a little bit uncomfortable. So you're working on that, building self-confidence.
Yes.
Is that it?
Yes. Okay. So the big thing with building confidence is humility is a form of being out of your comfort zone. One does not experience humility if they're in their comfort zone, because then you're comfortable. Why would you experience any form of, oh no, because you're comfortable. All right, you're perfectly fine. You're confident in your comfort zone. But once you step out of your comfort zone, which is where the real growth happens with your confidence and everything you do in your life, when you step out of your comfort zone, that's when humility starts coming out, because that's, you're stepping out into the, I don't know. And so you're stepping out into, oh, I want to know more. It's questions. So for those who do not experience it through dancing to improve their confidence, what I normally tell them is find something within your comfort zone that you love to do. Find the limitation, because obviously if you love doing something, you know what limitation you've put for yourself, where it's like, okay, yeah, I love doing it up to this point, So for instance, example is someone who works out at the gym. They are lifting weights and they know exactly what weight is too heavy and what weight is just challenging, and what weight is way too light. So they don't want to push past to that, oh, it's too heavy, I can't lift it or whatever. So they're going to stay there at the one that's comfortable. So they're confident. So when someone comes to them and say, hey, can you lift this 30 kilograms? You'll be like, yeah, of course, it's in my comfort zone. I know that. Can you lift the 40? Yeah, of course, Can you lift the 50? No, not at all. Will you do it? No, I'm in my comfort zone. So you know your limitations in your comfort zone. You know your own comfort zone. And so what I tell people is find out what it is you do in your comfort zone that you absolutely love, that brings you so much joy, and push past that limit. Just push past that limit just a little bit. You don't need to go like all the way. Just push past it. Because the thing is, a lot of people, when they try to push past limits and get out of their comfort zone, they get discouraged. If it's not what they expected, or if the humility was a bit too much for them, then they start telling themselves, oh, I'm not ready for this, or that was not cool, I hurt myself, or and that's where the growth happens. Growth is uncomfortable, but it's only uncomfortable until it's comfortable. Right?
So can I give you a specific example? For example,
yes.
Entrepreneurs, and I work with specifically female entrepreneurs, and I have many people that come to me and say they would like to be more on social media, more show up more, but they are afraid of doing the Facebook Live. That's something that happens a lot. Basically, a lot of times is related with not feeling confident and a fear that maybe they might be judged and things like that. In that specific case, what could you recommend? Would you recommend going, not exactly going on speaking to a camera, but go again to something that they like to do? It might not be directly related to speaking to the camera, or start in small steps.
Yeah, so that's actually a really good question. I like that question because this was me when I started going live on Facebook as well. My first live, I was part of the FLC group. So this happened with you too. So I actually had 3 tries. And so when you're finished, I recorded the video. So I started out with recording first. And then when I was about to post it, I didn't post it. And then I recorded again and I didn't post it. And then I realized, you know what, let me just go live. And the funny thing is, when I went live, till this day, my very first live, I'm not even going to lie to you, my very first live that I ever did on Facebook, I had the most eyes. As compared to any of my other lives, I had the most eyes. It's as though it was like, it's probably going to be like 1 or 2 people watching, that sort of thing. But in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, you know what? Imagine what happens if I go live and it's so amazing that I have like 100 people watching me. And I'm not saying there were 100 people watching me, but there was not just 5 or 1 or 3. It was at least 20, if I remember correctly, 23, 24 people watching me at the same time. And you know what helped me? For the first few minutes of the live, I didn't at all look at the camera. I was looking around and I kept speaking, but I was looking around elsewhere. As soon as I looked at the camera and I saw the comments coming through, that is when your mind starts telling you, oh yeah, okay, now I need to watch out. Someone's going to say something about me that I'm not going to like, or this is going to happen, or oh, what am I going to do? There's now people watching me, you know? And so that started running through my head. And so obviously you're going to feel that way the first time because you're out of your comfort zone. So you don't know what to expect. You don't know what to expect. That's why they say that you should not build expectations. You should just do it. Okay. And learn, do it and learn. And so I did my first live, and what I would recommend for people to actually get through that and to actually click on the live and just go live, do not look at your phone. Do not look at the comments. For the first, depending on how long your live is going to be, for the first minute or the first 2 minutes, talk and look at the camera. All right, look at the camera and just talk. Right? When you are about finished with your story, then maybe look down. Oh, there's someone here. Awesome. Then you can look through the comments, that sort of thing. Now, if you're struggling to, if you're finding it challenging to get to that initial stage of pressing the live button and actually talking, how I practiced it is I'm coming from, a few years of, talking to myself. But what I used to do is when I had a message in my head to share, I would always go to the mirror.
Yeah.
And I would share it with myself in the mirror, and I would have a conversation with myself. And what always made it fun for me is I would say the same sentence in like 5 different ways, annotating a specific word. So if I had the sentence, let me find a quick sentence. You know what? Give a quick sentence in the comments. Let me, pick one of the comments to read. Oh, goodness. That's a long comment. All right. So we'll look at this, and it says, this is really useful. I have so many books on life and self-improvement. Watching live is so much better. Okay. So you can say it like that. Thank you so much. Is it, how do I pronounce that name?
Keith.
Kai? Keith. Is it Keith?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So
I just see Key Jam.
Know how Keith likes to be called.
Oh, okay. So hi, Keith. Thanks so much for the comment. So what I would do is I would pick like a sentence like this. Say now, this is what I want to share. I would say, this is really useful. This is really useful. And, I'd start moving. And in doing that, I see what does not work for me and what does work for me and what looks really funny. If you learn to love yourself and laugh at yourself, you will be able to build so much confidence in yourself that no one can take it away from you. So it's literally, this is really useful. I have so many books on life and self-improvement. Watching live is so much better. And then you keep saying these things, in your head over and over. And eventually, if you have, thank you again so much, Keith, for that comment. If you have that amount of love for yourself, whether you have confidence or not, if you just love yourself, if you know that you love the person you are, but you're just, lacking a bit of confidence, that love for yourself already drives you to improve that confidence. And improving that confidence, wanting to improve that confidence, you're going to allow yourself the opportunity. You're going to allow yourself the space to make mistakes, but then do not criticize yourself too much. So that is where it's, do not be hard on yourself. All right. We all make mistakes. We're only human.
And for one thing that helped me that I've heard a lot during my yoga teacher training, our teacher used to tell us when we were in the circle and chatting. Maybe there were some fears of teaching the first classes, and what we got the routine wrong, or if it said something wrong in the middle of the class with students there. And he always said to us, you are there for your students. This is not about you. It's about them. So to take that out of your mind, because this is not about you. And I think for example, for entrepreneurs that are working with other people, you want to help other people. So it might help to think, okay, I'm doing this for them, so I have an important message. Sharing my story is important, so I'm doing this for them, and it's going to, even if it's messy, if you stumble on your, I don't know if that's the correct way to say
Yeah.
it, stumble on
Stumble
your
on
words.
your words. Yes. Hmm.
Then
Perfect.
for me, I struggle a lot because English is not my first word. I still do mistakes, and sometimes, I'm watching a live with my daughters, or I wrote something, and they say, "Mom, you wrote that wrong," or "Mom, you said that this way. It's wrong." And I laugh, really? We laugh and laugh and laugh, and it only now, because in the beginning it probably wasn't that funny, but now it's funny. So it's okay. And I get, and yeah, with what you said is really important. Loving yourself enough to, laugh about that. It's funny.
It really is. It really is. You need to it's correct what you said there, Isabel. Actually brilliant, because when you love yourself to the degree that you want to give out a message, that you want to help others, you'll start to see that your loving for yourself is sort of, you want to share it. It's like, it's it's not news. You're filling up your cup with love, and eventually your cup is going to get to a point where it's like, yeah, it's overflowing now. And that's okay. That's okay, because now that overflowing, what are you going to do with that? You're just going to let that go to waste? No, you're going to share. You're going to start helping, filling other people's cups. And you can do that in any way you choose to. And when you realize what it feels like, and when you feel what it feels like to actually let that overflow go into other people's cups, in a good sense, and you're delivering a message not for yourself, but you realize that it's a message for someone else to hear,
Yeah,
you you already have the vision, in the headlights, saying that this is going to make a difference in someone's life. And when you realize that, you don't even care what you look like, because you know for a fact that you felt that sense of joy, you felt that high vibrational state, and now you're going to be the reason someone else is feeling that as well for themselves. How sick is that? You
yeah,
know? And once you get to that point, you're going to start doing more lives, and you're going to start becoming more confident in not only yourself, but you're going to be confident in the way you can help others as well.
yeah,
And you're going to just keep doing it, and it's just going to flow into abundance.
absolutely. So do you want to share a little bit how you help people currently?
Currently, how I help people.
Yeah, so I know you do many things, but you work with people with their on their fitness, who are on their fitness
Mm,
journey,
yes, yes.
and you help them to build their self confidence. So would you like to share a little bit about that?
So what I do is I currently help people in many different ways, but one of the main ways is obviously, like you said, Isabel, through fitness and through confidence in themselves. Whether it's in speaking, it's mainly in speaking. I am an English tutor, and I love speaking, and I love talking to people, and I love it when people talk to me and the way they speak. I think one of the coolest things in the world is to actually have a lisp. I find it so cool. And so how I help people currently in the fitness and with their confidence is, I start out with helping them to obviously reframe their mindset, and obviously build that confidence in themselves, and that love for themselves. And when you do that, you automatically, what they do is they automatically get onto this, I call it the frenzy. It's sort of like a frenzy that you go through, where you love the feeling of achieving something with yourself. And it's not selfish. It's not selfish. All right. That's the one thing that you need to remember. It's not selfish to love yourself. All right. And so you fall in love so much with the achievement that you want to do something more to improve it. Then you want to do something more, and you want to feel. It's sort of like it's a healthy drug, so to say. It's a healthy drug, and that's how people get addicted to success. But what's really great about it is you it's not unhealthy in the sense that you become a sore loser. So what I do is I help people first by reframing their mindset and, you know, allowing them the space to realize that, okay, you need to make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. You need to go through humility and everything. And this is why it's so hard. You know, you go through the rough patch of going up the mountain first. All right. That is going to be pretty hard, pretty challenging. Okay. But you need to go through it so that you can appreciate the view of the sunset when you're at the top. Okay. And then what I do is through the fitness, that is the overflow. So that is the expression of that self-confidence, the expression of that love going outwards. So when you're in fitness, whether it's dance, doing Zumba, whether it's yoga, whether it's lifting weights, whether it's running, whether it's sports or whatever, you're expressing that internal love externally through the expression of body language or speaking. And so that's why I help people with the fitness as well. And a lot of people, what they do is, from what I've seen, you know, being in the industry for more than 7 years, is that they sometimes want to do the one without the other. So they're building that self-love, but they don't want to, you know, express it externally. And so sometimes that turns into a form of arrogance. And so, you know, I'm better than you, me first, not you. And so what you need to do is you need to start turning that into the expression of something else over here, so you can get rid of it. It's almost like when you're feeling certain emotions, keeping it in is not good. You need to release. You need to express. It's healthy to express. And so through the fitness, that's how you express it. But then there's other people who don't have this, but they have this. So they go to the gym and they want to express themselves, but then they fail to see results that they want because this is not yet aligned. You know, it's very much got to do with your alignment, mind, body, and soul. It's very much got to do with that. You cannot go to the gym, work out, and be like, yeah, I'm going to lift all these weights. I'm going to do this. I'm going to, you know, hit the ball. I'm going to run so far. But then you come out of the gym and you're like, yeah, that was horrible. I didn't reach the goals that I wanted to. You know, you're very hard on yourself. Okay, and you don't reach the results that you want to because this needs to be fixed, right? Not fixed, but improved. I'm going to use improved, not fixed.
Into alignment, all the aspects.
Yes. So it needs to be that. It needs to be that. And so what I do is that connection over here. What I want to do as well, what I'm working on currently, is I want to help people find that link through not perfect technique, but a close to flawless technique. And so being in the industry for a very long time, I learned a lot of why it's important to follow technique rather than chase results. So it's really important to master this, then to just chase the result without mastery, chase the result without mastery, and then it's constantly doing this, and then you're in a constant flow of, okay, gotta improve, gotta fix, and so it's an unhealthy sort of repetition of a very big wave. And so
help people with it to realize all of that size and help them bring that into alignment.
Yes. So what I do is I'm currently working on a way in which I can help people adapt a technique focused mindset, so that when they focus on doing a specific thing, they focus on that one thing.
Okay.
It is important. You can still do, you know, all the other things to distract yourself, because sometimes you need a bit of a break, but you need to focus on getting that right before you can get to the next step. You know, I'm working on helping people to not skip steps.
Yeah.
You know, every now and again, have some fun on this step. Woo, yeah, go back down, you know, that sort of thing. But don't try and skip 10 steps. You know, you're going to end up going, you know, tripping upstairs. You don't want that. And so this is how I train people in the fitness industry as well. I always tell them, specifically with people who want to build muscle and lose weight as well, you want to focus on what you can do. you want to perfect it, you want to say that, okay, this, you've mastered this now, but you haven't mastered the weight. All right, this is specific to weight training now.
Yeah.
You haven't mastered the weight, right? No, you haven't. The weight hasn't mastered you, but you have mastered the weight. That's so to say that you're not training for a specific machine. The machine is not training you. You are training the machine. Does that make sense?
No.
All right, let me. Okay, I kind of figured it didn't make much sense.
So,
So,
yeah, I was going to say that is actually it seems very. How do people? How do I explain it? From my point of view, I would be really frustrated if my coach would say, no, you need to stay here and master, because the tendency, and this you might notice this with clients as well, is that, okay, let's move on, we need to move on to another thing, whether that is to get distracted or because, it takes a lot of commitment to master something. So I don't know if you notice this as well.
yes, you get it a lot of the times. The frustration is always there because as much as we might not want to admit it, or we might be completely unaware of it, we live in a fast food. We call it the fast food sort of lifestyle, which everything is now, and I want it now, and it's going to be here now, and there's no patience.
Yeah.
And so that's why people so that's why people only commit only a little bit, and then a little bit, and then a little bit, and then something else, and then a little, because they're always, and I find this sometimes in myself. That I get frustrated when I'm putting in so much work, and I'm not getting the result I want fast enough. But then when you start feeding that mindset of, oh, I'm not getting the results I want in the time that I want, then it's going to constantly be that, and you're going to get so frustrated all the time. But if you start feeding the mindset of, okay, I need to work harder to get this sorted out for me to get there, because I'm not going to get there unless I get here, then you're going to start improving. I mean, it's like trying to build a house, but you're building the roof first.
Yeah. And I can see how that applies, kind of not just in fitness, but actually from my perspective as business owner. We can apply that approach as well, because I'm sure there will be times where we need just to master something, whether that is a skill or a certain aspect, instead of wanting to move forward and to the next step.
Exactly. It's sort of like what I've learned now in the Isabel, this is a really good example. Both you and I were in this this FLC Freedom Lifestyles Creator course, and what they teach you there is a very important thing, which is pre-sale. So basically a good implementation and a good example of building the roof or lifting the weight before you've actually mastered the form is the perfect quote is, master the form and flow with the formless. Right? And so that is what I'm living by. Now, the perfect example in business terms is pre-sale. Don't create something that is not in demand because you think it's in demand. So don't create a massive course, put in all the work and the investment, and spend all that money and everything on building this specific thing, and then you're like, okay, cool, let's go see if people will like to get this. And then absolutely no one. This is not at all in demand. Then you're like, oh my goodness, I just spent all of that energy, all of that money, and like I sold my car for this, and there's like, it's not working. So the perfect example is the pre-sale. And so what you need to do is you need to sort of master the pre-sale. In business terms, you need to master the pre-sale. Go out, do the research. Okay, I have these ideas. I want to build this. Okay, cool. Let's go mention it. Let's go, sort of put it out there. See, okay, yeah, this one's taking the not the bait. I wouldn't say this one's taking the bait. That kind of sounds like it's like it's making false promises. But this one's actually biting. There we go. This one's biting. This one's biting. This, and then when there's enough people biting, then you're like, okay, awesome. I got these people that are biting now. Now I can move on to the next step, which is to build the thing itself. All right, and so that's. That is, it's literally in the quote, master the form, and then flow with the formless. And if I remember correctly, this was Bruce Lee's quote. This was Bruce Lee's quote, was it not? I believe it was master the form, flow with the formless.
You have to Google that. I don't know.
I will need to do that again. I'm pretty sure it's Bruce Lee's quote. Let me know in the comments if you know whose quote that was. But very important quote. I'm actually quite disappointed in myself that I can't remember. It's on the tip of my tongue.
So speaking about comments, Zishan comment is, yeah, self-love is a necessity, not a luxury. So it's not selfish. That's a very good point.
Very, very good point.
So, and Keith shared that just hopefully came to an end of a rough patch. So if we see that sun soon, so coming up back to your visual of going up the mountain.
Yes.
Very, so guys, if you are watching live, Jackie Chan. There you go. If you're watching live or
okay, there we go.
Replay, comment below if you have any final questions for Val.
And let me know if you'd be interested in that sort of thing. You know, specifically now, I'm in the fitness industry, so I'm focused around there. One of the things that I see a lot of people are finding, you know, that they want to do is they want to start getting into yoga. And Isabel, you do yoga, of course, so you understand that in yoga, there are specific things that you need to achieve first in order to get to the next.
Yeah.
You can't just end up doing, you know, you're starting out, you can't just end up doing what Isabel's doing just because like, oh my goodness, Isabel's doing it, let me try it, with absolute no knowledge of what, you know, yoga actually is. And as much as it is a mental thing, and it is a spiritual thing as well. It's a very big spiritual practice. Funny enough, yoga is one of the reasons I go to the gym less. Funny enough, think about it. And and so it's so beneficial for your body, but not only for your body, but for your mind and your spirit as well. And one of the things I'm working on right now is a lot of people want to get that spiritual health, that mental health, and they're convinced that, okay, yeah, you know what, cool, I'm not going to the gym, but I still want the physical health. Yeah, you know, yoga is going to help me with the mindset, which it will. But what you need to understand is it's still a physical activity. And so what I'm working on currently is I want to help people understand that yoga, as much as it's a benefit for your mind and your spirit, it's a benefit for your body as well. And if you start realizing that it is as much a physical activity as it is a mental and spirit, if you can master the physical or master the mental or master the spirit, all of them will come in tune. But obviously, if you're focusing on one of them, you need to avoid the frustration of not getting the results that you want with the other. So what I do is I help people with the physical. So let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in something like this, you know, where we take you step by step and we break down every single physical activity down to the muscle, to the individual muscle, and we tell you how you need to use this specific muscle to figure out that this is what your body can do, and this is what your vessel can do, and this is what it can currently do, and this is what it can do once you improve it. Let me know if that is something you might be interested in, because it's something that I'm working on with Isabel over here, to help people prepare their vessels so that when they take their yoga to the next level, or any activity to the next level, whether it's mental or spiritual, their vessel can handle it, you know?
Yeah, so comment below whether you're watching now on live or on replay, and Zishan has a question. But what about being stiff-bodied and not having a strong core?
I could just tell you what all the trainers tell you. Just keep doing sit-ups. What is your take on this, Isabel?
The question?
Yes, the question. What would you do? What would you do for a stiff body? Someone who wants to get into yoga or something. What would you do if they came to you saying, "Oh, I have a stiff body. I can't do that."
All the time. And my answer is more or less the same. Yoga is not about how flexible you are. It's not about if you can touch your toes or not. Yoga is a philosophy, is a way of living. Yeah, and if you want a little bit more detail on that, actually the postures or the asanas are only one part of yoga. So if we talk about the 8 limbs of yoga, asanas is just one of the limbs. The other ones are, meditation, breath work, and a whole bunch of them, which I don't know from the top of my head, but it's all very much connected with a spiritual practice and how you show up for yourself and other people, maybe in your community, even moral ethic conduct. And then there's a part which is the physical.
Yeah, which is obviously where I would come in. So to say that I agree with you, it is very much got to do with how you show up. I love that you said that, Isabel, because if you can start showing up with the mindset of I don't have a stiff body, then automatically you're going to start convincing yourself that you don't have a stiff body, and you're going to start looking at improving that. Because if you're constantly focused on the fact that I have a stiff body, whenever you go into a specific physical practice, it's going to be the block. It's going to be that limitation that I told you of in your comfort zone, and you need to get past that.
Yeah, if you were going to yoga because you have a stiff body, so you need yoga, go to yoga to get a less stiff body. If you don't want to do yoga because you feel like you have to be more flexible, just know that yoga is not about that. So there's no requirement to be flexible. So still go to yoga.
Yeah. That's the perfect answer.
There's no excuse. Yeah. But here is very common that here on this side of the world, people connect more with the physical. If they don't know much about yoga, they connect more with the physical side of yoga. Of course, that's important, and mastering the form is very important. So what you're doing, helping people understand how they can understand better their body and how they can work with their body better, it's very much beneficial for your yoga practice. Because the more you understand your body too, and you can work with your body, whether that is on the mat or outside the mat, you're going to see changes in yourself as well. And connecting with your body, with my body, it's connecting with my spirit as well. So.
Yeah, and if you'll allow me to just add on to that, Isabel, you were right when you said, a lot of people are focused now on the physical aspect of it, because this is, if you look at it in a specific way, this is kind of one of the easiest representations of achieving something. This is the easiest way to see improvement, is to bring yourself to the physical, to your physical reality. Even though it's even more impressive when you notice and you're aware of the inner improvements with your mind, with your spirit. Once you are aware of those improvements that you have, or those feats that you've achieved on the inside, those are so much more rewarding. But because we are so caught up in the physical reality around us, which is all the more reason for you to practice yoga anyway, is that when you start seeing physical results, you see it as more of a reward, like, oh my goodness, now I can actually touch my toes. How cool is that?
Yeah.
And it's that frenzy that I was talking about earlier, that addiction to the achievement, that's the top. That's, the next step. That's the top of the hill. That's like the peak at the sunset, that's like, I got it. I did it. Woo! Okay, what's the next step?
Also the journey to get there. And then you can appreciate the journey as well to get to the top of the mountain.
Exactly.
Appreciate more and more that journey to get there.
Mm. And I mean, it's really important that I mentioned this. Sorry, Isabel. Um, Specifically with me, I used to train calisthenics for a very long time because I wanted to master my body and not like the machines master me and whatnot. I wanted to, have people throw things at me and say, yeah, I can do it, and then help people with that as well. Um, some yoga asanas that I did,
Yeah.
I was talking about the alignment thing. So when it came to yoga, I needed to align this, my mind and my spirit. Right? This is why I wanted to practice yoga and why I got into yoga. Because the physical, I could do most asanas because I had already the understanding of what muscles needed to be used, how my body needed to move and everything. So I had that understanding. So that's why I started yoga.
Yeah.
And so the important thing is if you just focus on the physical, if you just focus on the physical and you reap those rewards, for me, it was already not that challenging because I already understood it. So the journey wasn't necessarily there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in my mind, there was that little bit of, yeah, okay, great. So I can do headstand, yay! Because I got it right the first time. No, so I got it right the first time. Now, how do I master it? That is where you create your own journey with the physical. So even though you can get something like this, make yourself a journey, create yourself a journey, put yourself a path on to get better at it, to be able to do a headstand for 10 minutes, to be able to do a headstand for 30 minutes, which by the way might just be unhealthy for the blood in your head, just saying. um, so so that's this is a personal experience that I had experienced, and now I know I can use that to help others, because obviously there are going to be people who have that.
Yeah.
You're going to be aligned spiritually, but then you don't have the physical. Don't get frustrated. Do it so that that can work. If
Yeah.
you got this, but not this, do it so that can work.
Yeah. And sometimes I observe, in a class environment, some people are worried with what they're doing and what other people are doing and how much flexible other people are doing and comparing themselves. But it's such a personal journey. It's not about what you see. It's more of it's an internal journey as
Mm,
well.
mm.
And I was
It
letting
really is.
minutes ago because Keith just shared this comment. Um,
A little secret: chocolate is actually really good for muscle recovery, so long as it doesn't have a lot of sugar in it.
yeah, yeah.
Make sure it's 80% dark cocoa.
And all of this journey that we mentioned all contributes to building confidence and self-confidence in different levels, right? So Val, final thoughts. Is there anything that you haven't shared yet you would like to share? Leave any final words of wisdom for anyone watching live or on replay?
There's so much I would love to share with a lot of people, but what I like to say, what I like to leave with people is obviously in my name, and I'm just going to tell you two simple things. Curiosity breeds adventure, and all you should do is stay curious.
Boom. So Val, where
Boom.
can people find you if they want to connect with you, with your work and your new projects coming out?
Right. So if you want to connect with me, you can find me on Facebook. I am tagged in this video, whether you're watching it live or via replay. I'm currently tagged as Valentino Saincic, but I am linked to my page, which is Curiosity Val, spelt incorrectly because we're focusing on the curious in curiosity. And if you want to find me on Instagram as well, it's also CuriosityVal. If you want to email me something, it's curiosityval@gmail.com. If you want to connect with me on a more personal level, not Facebook Messenger or Instagram direct message, you can email me if you'd like. Can I type in the comments? I don't know if I can.
I don't know.
No, I can't. I can
No?
type in the private chat, but it's literally just my name, CuriosityVal, and then @gmail.com. I sent it in the private chat, so I don't know.
Uh,
There we go. I don't know if you're able to maybe paste it. I could put it in the comments later on after the live, after we end the live. It's not a problem. But if you want to connect, yes, there we go. Perfect. So if you want to connect with me, you can connect with me on almost anything, but mainly just Instagram and Facebook. And the YouTube channel will be coming out pretty soon. I'm just right now working on that amazing piece of chocolate good healthy cake to give out to a lot of people.
Awesome. Good. So I'm super curious about what's coming next for you, and to see your YouTube channel and to know more about your projects. Valentino Saincic.
Sign. So yeah. So pretend you're signing. You're signing, and you have like this itch in the back of your neck while you're signing. So it's signed Sitch.
Sitch. Oh,
There we go. Yeah.
Sitch. Thank you so much for joining me live, for your time, for sharing your wisdom, your experience with me and everyone live and watching after on replay. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for allowing the space and having me here.
Thank you.
Thank
you
you.
everyone for joining in. Stay tuned for the next Live Intentionally. Lots of love. Speak soon. Bye.
Bye.